guy or
So
something.
you start talking to James Woods in this restaurant, Dantana's, right? Okay,
Yeah, right,
I'll get cooler. And
if they don't buy me a free meal after all these, like, I swear to
honestly,
God,
seriously,
we should never sign a check again.
and you start to talk about like then and there the possibility of a collaboration.
No, you know what? Actually,
No.
it was
That's
even-
for Shooter. Let him talk.
You listen to him.
But I never get to talk.
Yeah, that's right. No, like it didn't start immediately. I first of all, like growing up, like I loved every movie that he was in, right? I mean, I remember The Hard Way was like one of the first R-rated movies I saw when I was young, Sorry. Not that. Hey, there's the age gap gets smaller when you get older, but he, when I was young, it was just like Videodrome and these movies like that were just massive for me, so I was always just a follower of his. I loved his films, so here we are meeting, and we just started talking about all kinds of stuff. Like I'm a nut for old Hollywood. I'm a nut for like Charles Bukowski. I'm a nut for all this kind of like Hollywood stories in the 30s and all this. And we just kind of instantly fell into these conversations. And then it was just pretty quick that he just revealed that he played guitar and that he was playing around with the guitar. And by this time he had told us like 50,000 amazing stories by the third or fourth time we'd been to dinner. And I was like, you got to write this down somehow. That was what my initial thought was. But then he started writing these like long poetic pieces. And then I just started playing around with them and turning them into music, and then it just kept
stand
working.
By. Okay, because I like this part of the story. So then he says to you, maybe you could shoot me some lyrics. Like you write something down and shoot it to me.
Right.
And you're excited. You're like, oh my God, okay.
Shooter Jennings is asking me to write some music. Wow. So I go home, and I don't know why, but his wife's name is Misty, and it was just in my mind. And I lived in Laurel Canyon when I was young actor. And, it was back then, before the internet, before any of this stuff, people just hung out. And Laurel Canyon was this kind of cool place, I mean, it was right after the Manson killing, so there was also kind of creepy and all this stuff. And I remember one day I got up on my little deck of my little house, and it was very foggy, and I thought, oh, man, just don't let the sun break through yet. Just let me take a breather before the day starts. And so I thought, the first word I ever wrote as a musician was Misty, Misty Morning, when the sun in early morning dies in sorrow and quietly fades, before they once more own us, before the world invades. And then I just kept writing. And I sent it to him and didn't hear anything for like a month. I said to Sarah, I sent lyrics to Shooter Jennings. He's got 3 Grammys. I am such a jerk.
Humiliated.
I'm just honest to God, I was like, literally had my tail between my legs. And then I'm walking one day in the living room, and it was like an MP3 file.
Yeah.
And I touch it, and I go, all right, I've been smoking all day, and my voice is shit, but I'm just going to tinkle this here on the piano. It's kind of a stream of consciousness, James. I hope you don't mind, but just like a little demo here. I don't know, man. I hope you like it. Boom. Now, David Foster said, this guy's an unbelievable composer, and he wanted to buy the song for Josh Groban right away.
Wow.
And I said, well, I'm never leaving Shooter, but for those 4 minutes, it was literally the turning point of my life. And in the intro of our album, I talk about F. Scott Fitzgerald saying that there are no second acts in American lives. But at that moment was when the second act of my life changed. Well, the real second act was when I found Sarah.
Aw.
And Sarah and I got married in Arizona.
I love your love for her.
Yeah, and you know who our officiant was?
Who?
I married him.
What?
He married us legally. He married us.
Wait, when?
He became a minister to marry us.
Recently?
Yeah, look, we all have
Were
this.
you not married to Sarah when I saw you in July? Wait, when did you
Yeah,
get
no,
married?
we've been
yeah,
married
this
for a couple
couple years
years.
ago.
Oh, okay, it's a couple
yeah,
years
yeah.
ago. Okay.
And we all have this Columbo session, and he wrote the most wonderful vows. And at the end of it, she was dressed as Priscilla Presley. She played, God Only Knows was her wedding vow. And we were out there with the cactus. It was so beautiful. And he did this whole thing, and it was great. And, I now pronounce you man and wife. And so we started to walk away, and he said, oh, one more thing. you may kiss the bride.
For anyone who knows what Columbo is, that's what he would
that's
always
right.
say.
You have to know that.
You have to
But
know
always
that he
end
would
with
always
go
say,
at the
just
very
one
end.
more thing.
Yeah,
one more thing, and then he'd
catch
get
the
you.
bad by. Yeah,
It is funny.
That's right.
Seems like Columbo's too soon for you, Shooter. Like that
No,
seems like
I used to
it'd be
watch it
before
with my
your
dad.
time.
My
Really?
he loved it, and we used to watch it whenever it would come on. And so I've watched every episode. I have like
That
many
guy would
books
never get a
on it.
TV show today, and he was such a weird looking dude, but he was perfect for that role.
Yeah, he was so great. But
Right?
he's such a good actor.
Had
If you ever
like the
watch
one
old-
eye over there. You're like, what's that? What? But
a
he was
glass
just
eye.
right for it.
yeah.
All right, so when you got the lyrics, were you genuinely impressed, or were you like, oh, I kind of
No,
said I'm going to have to do something. Now it's James Woods. So.
No, I don't ever usually do that. I don't go down the road if it's not something I feel is real. But with this, I just when I read those, what I noticed is okay. There's no choruses or anything to any of this. It's not like a normal song. It's kind of like this poetic
A poem.
thing, and so I just kind of when I'm reading it to myself. It kind of reminded me of the cadence and phrasings of like modern Bob Dylan records, like the more modern things,
Wow.
like Tempest and
High
all
praise.
that. Well, I mean, it's just like I could hear the words flowing the way that he. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to like Tempest or Rough and Rowdy Ways. He's got a song called I Contain Multitudes, but it's like a really interesting. Lyrically, the way he kind of weaves things, even that Murder Most Foul, that 16-minute long JFK assassination song, it's like very.
I mean,
very
he's won a
poetic.
Nobel Prize for his writing,
And he didn't
that's who you're
show
being
up.
compared to.
Show up.
They
That's
couldn't
even
even find
cooler.
him.
He didn't show
Even
up.
cooler though.
So
He's
cool.
like, it barely registered
He's
that
the
I won it.
best. He's my
So
favorite.
we have a sample. I don't think we have Misty Morning. We have Hollywood Kills Everything.
Yeah, wait till you hear this sax on this. Oh my
Okay,
God.
we got to play
Who's
that
still
because
Almerio?
just the title alone is fantastic. And I feel like I get it.
Yep.
Let's listen a little of Sot 2.
There's glamour on that silver screen like liquid mercury lives only to be seen. The shimmers and the glimmers as it wraps its tendrils round your brain.
I mean, I'm kind of imitating Dylan there.
It's working.
A dream, Hollywood kills everything.
Oh, it's such a cool vibe.
And by the way, that photograph was taken by Sarah. She did all the photography on the album.
Is that right?
Sarah
Megyn?
Miller, yeah. Huh?
Dare I say,
Well, not that photo.
you sound even better than Dylan today.
Oh,
Today,
please.
yeah, for
Oh,
sure.
you can't say that. That's blasphemy.
I know it is blasphemy,
I
but
love
it's how
his
I feel.
voice.
It's a very cool vibe on there. So you guys get in the studio at some point, and your heart must have been aflutter, James.
Well, first of all, the process is weird. I wrote every word on this album. Shooter composed every note and sings it. You go in the studio, and I'm thinking, this is weird. I'm making an album of sort of my life, my words, put to music. Have you ever been in the studio with a professional musician? He plays the demo on the piano,
I can't remember.
plays the piano.
I don't think I
They
have.
sit there with a piece of paper and and they just put numbers down because it's like, the number 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord diminished, whatever, or flatted, whatever. They do all that. And they play the song out of nowhere. They hear it once. It's like, what?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
That's
well, here's
crazy.
the thing, though. I brought all the lyrics, which nobody ever does. They just let these guys play. And I said, here's the story behind this. And the crux of this story, there's a lyric in here where it said, hello, the starlet said, with eyes so baby blue, give it to me, big boy, you know that I love you. You jump into her cold dead heart, you can hardly wait. Give me all your money, honey. Heartbreak is your personal fate. Okay? So it's really about kind of what our business is.
Mm-hmm.
But there was also the story, and I'm going to do the whole lyric. The little girl jumped from the sign. It was like a lighthouse from the shoal, and so on. It was the Peg Entwistle story. Peg Entwistle jumped off the Hollywood sign and committed suicide because her career was essentially over and didn't know that there was a telegram at her house. She had just gotten a big role in an MGM movie. And yes, it's a heartbreaking kind of jazzy story and so on. I mean, it's it's what I say. They don't here. They don't. It's a swamp of creatures vile. They don't gut you with a rusty. They don't gut you with a rusty blade. They do it with a smile, and so on.
wow.
And he,
In news, they use the rusty blade.
yeah,
They do. That's
yeah.
fine.
But think about what he had to do. He gets these complex, weird lyrics, and it's like he's now got to fold them into music.
Right.
It's not like they write the music, did it.
Did you have to talk to Jimmy about this? Like, what is the
No,
vision?
he's a magic
You just
box.
go with it
I
on your
send the
own.
music, and a year later it comes back, or 2 days. One day he wrote 3 songs. He composed 3 songs. I wrote 35 songs in 3 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
He composed 3 of them in one day, and it took us 4 years to do the album. I go, well, Sarah, the Shooter hate me. She goes, no, he's busy. He's a
Does he hate
Grammy
me?
award. He's on the road with Brandy Carlisle. He's with Manson, Marilyn Manson. Come on, he's working. I go, he hates me. No, he doesn't hate you.
It's great to know you have these same insecurities that the rest of us have.
Yeah, so I wrote a song called Wallem Lake, which was from my father. We used to go fishing in Wallem Lake, which is my, when the world stops spinning and time at last stands still, when in a moment you are gone, will I hear the whippoorwill? Because he used to, when I was little, we'd go fishing together, and he'd whistle like the whippoorwill, whippoorwill.
Yeah.
And the whippoorwill would answer back. And I just thought that was like the most amazing thing, because I was 8 years old, And then I always, when I'd go fishing, always kind of listen for the whippoorwill. And there's a great moment at the end of the story, which now this old man is sitting on the lake, and, on a cold gray day, and the light breaks through, and I need not ask nor be told the presence now of you. And from an evening star comes this beautiful whippoorwill, and I know he's singing to me.
Wow. That is gorgeous. He gave you a lot to work with there, Shooter. Let me get one other track in, because I think the audience will enjoy it. Road Back Song. This is Sot 3.
The road
Yeah,
back.
yeah,
Let's
baby.
listen.
Like a diamond bullet to the brain.
Great line to start.
It's with you, my son, I share this refrain. And when you're lost in sorrow, in life is racked with pain, don't wait until tomorrow to find your peace again. When you feel in your heart you're about to cry, jump on that highway and take the road back.
It's good advice in there, as well as being catchy. Shooter, was he easy to work with? Did he want the words to remain all the same? Did you say, well, that doesn't rhyme, does it?
No, I wanted him to stay the same. I made some, I made a lot of edits, but not to his words. Like he would really just give me more material than I needed, really. And I would kind of pick the stuff that spoke to me, and really kind of put that together. But I didn't want to change it. I thought this is a really unique project. I haven't put out a record of my own since 2018. I've moved to fully producing records, so like when this came along, like putting another album out wasn't even really I wasn't even interested in it. But when this started to happen, and then it started to work, and I saw what it was, I go, this is really interesting. Like I've never heard of anyone actually doing this, where it's really his words and his life story. It's his perspective, and I was kind of explaining to him why his name had to be first on this record to me, was because otherwise no one was going to understand what it was. Like they would have to, like I said, there's a line where he talks about his mom passing away, and it's like, my mom's alive. Like, that was the point where you're like, I can't, this isn't me, this is him, but I'm singing it.
Yeah.
So it was really, really interesting. It took us a while to figure out how to present it, and really the title came from him. He was sitting there in my studio, and we were trying to think of like what to call it. And he said, he popped out of his seat. He goes, I got it. He's like, here's the Thunder Crack, the life of James Woods, sung by Shooter Jennings. And I go, well, there you go. Now people understand exactly what it is.
There is a lot at stake in this upcoming election, but regardless of who's sitting in the White House, the fuse on the economy has already been lit. Every 4 years, a conservative might win, but that's not enough to turn around the tide on our $35 trillion national debt. And if the left wins, it's like throwing gas on a dumpster fire. One thing you could do is to diversify your savings into gold with the help of Birch Gold Group. For millennia, gold has stood firm in the face of greedy governments, economic upheavals, and global strife, and it can protect you now. Birch Gold will help you convert an IRA or a 401k into an IRA in physical gold, tax-free and penalty-free, and it doesn't cost you a cent out of pocket. In the past 4 years, the buying power of the U.S. dollar has declined. The price of gold has gone up. Text MK to 989898 to get your info kit. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.